Hello and welcome to the Every Brain is Different podcast. I'm Samantha Foote here with your Friday episode, and today I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to be talking about an experience I had with my son last weekend when we went to my in-laws' cabin. So last Thursday, my husband and son went up in the morning with other family members, and then I went up to the cabin later that evening with my other kids, and we arrived around 7:30. When we arrived, my son was coming down the mountain and he opened the car door. My purse fell out, and then he put my purse on top of the rolls. And I said, "Oh, don't smash the rolls." He immediately burst into tears and ran away. I, of course, followed him to see what was wrong, and he went into the garage and said, "Leave me alone. I just want to be alone." So I left him alone, and then he got up though and he started running away into the woods. I followed him because it was getting dark and I didn't want him to get lost, and I told him I would leave him alone, but he needed to stay in sight of the cabin. He said he wanted to get away from the cabin. He said that he just wanted to go home. He was crying and then laughing and then crying, and I had no idea what was going on with him. Had someone said something to him? Did something happen that day? Did he get hurt? Was he overwhelmed from being around family? I had no idea. I told him that I would take him home because I thought we had two cars up there, and I told him to go sit in the car and I would talk to his dad before we left. He was very defensive, like he was folding his arms and walking away from me and just making sure I wasn't touching him, and he was on high alert. He sat in the car and I asked him what was wrong. Why was he so upset? He just kept saying he wanted to go home. I asked if he would take his nighttime medication because I knew it would calm him down and it might help him to just calm his emotions and stop crying and all of that. And so he said that he would. Unbeknownst to me, while I was getting his medication, his grandma went out to talk to him, and I was a little worried about that when I saw that she was in the car because I didn't know what was going to happen. But it turned out to be a good thing. He took his medication, calmed down, and agreed to come into the cabin through the back door so we didn't have to see anyone and go into a room that no one was in so that he could just be alone. He ate some food, he drank some milk, and he fell asleep until 8 or 9 the next morning, which was awesome. So, what happened? He went river rafting with the family that day, and they were only supposed to be gone for about 2 hours, but it turned into a 4.5 hour adventure because they got stuck on the river and it just took them longer than they thought it would take to get down the river. By the end of it, my son was peopled out and exhausted from being in the sun and swimming all day. He also refused to eat dinner. He's also very sensitive to criticism or what he perceives as criticism. So when I told him not to smash the rolls, it kind of tipped him over the edge and just overflowed his cup, so to speak. And I want to go over what went well in my interaction with him and what I could have done better and what our plan was moving forward after this happened. So, what went well? I didn't let him run away. I followed from a distance but kept him in sight. He was very defensive, so if I had tried to run up toward him, he would have only gone deeper into fight or flight and he would have run away faster. So I kept my voice calm, I didn't yell, and I got him to a safe place. Those were the good things that happened. What I could have done better was not tell him I would take him home before I knew if that was a viable option. In the moment, this was the only thing I could think of to get him to a safe place, but I really didn't know if that was doable when I said that I would take him home. Like I've said before, mean what you say and say what you mean. It could have caused more harm if I had told him I couldn't take him home after I said that I would. So I also repeatedly asked him what was wrong. I think this is a natural thing to do, especially in that situation where you're just walking in not knowing what happened beforehand, but it wasn't what was important in the moment. The time to decompress and go over what happened is after a crisis, obviously not during the crisis. So I should have just focused on getting him calm, not worried about what happened to get him to that point, and just focused on helping him get into a better self-regulated state. So going forward, after this happened and he fell asleep, and the next day, we made a plan of where he could get personal space away from people when he needed it. He was able to go into that empty room until the people who were staying in it came, and then after that, he was able to go to a bunkhouse away from the cabin to get alone time. This seemed to help him immensely. I also let him have screen time when he wanted it away from people. So we downloaded a Jurassic Park movie and he was able to watch that by himself whenever he needed to just be alone. He also took time to be alone and just like nap or just lay there or just do whatever he needed to do to get back to a self regulated state. I share this story to illustrate that meltdowns can be brewing under the surface that we don't know about. They can happen unexpectedly. My husband had checked with my son several times throughout the day to see how he was doing, if he was okay, and if he needed anything. Every time that my husband talked to my son acted fine and said he was good, but then he had a massive meltdown. It was the biggest meltdown he's ever had in his life. So that's just to show that your kids can say they're fine, they can look fine, and something is brewing underneath though. So it's our job at that time to help our kids come back to a regulated state, not sit there and worry about what caused it, not sit there and criticize them for how they're behaving, or tell them to stop crying, or tell them to calm down. We just need to do things that we've practiced to help them calm down before meltdowns happen. So I hope you found this helpful, and I will be back next week.